Hi, I'm Dave Schwartz. I'm the horse handicapping authority. In 1979, Dr. William Quirin wrote a wonderful book on horse racing called Winning at the Races. Today's topic is Quirin form factors. In the next 10 minutes or less, I'm going to improve your game.
In his 1979 book, Winning at the Races by Dr. William Quirin, he outlined a handful of form factors. I always called them plus factors, but that was actually a Tom Ainsley word. In this video, we're going to look at just how good these form factors really are and try to expand a little upon their performance. By the way, if you don't have this book, I strongly suggest you look for a copy of it. If for no other reason, you need to know what everybody else knows. Before we dive too deeply into this table, let's talk about the form factors themselves. First of all, we have TX3, and that stands for Taxing Drive Last 3 Calls. The definition is the horse was within 1 length at each of the last 3 calls in his last race. Dr. Quirin also had a factor he called TX2, which was where the horse was within 1 length at the last 2 calls. Now the horse could be the leader, but he still cannot be more than a length in front. Stretch gain. Stretch gain, and the definition is he gained at least 2 positions and 1 length, or 1 position and 2 lengths in the stretch of his last race. He must also have finished within 5 lengths of the winner and in the front half of the field in terms of position. Bid hung is next. Bid and hung means that the horse gained 2 positions in 1 length or 1 position in 2 lengths, total of 3 together, at either the second or the third call. In other words, from the first call to the second call or the first call to the third call, he must have made this gain. In addition, he must have moved into the front half of the field and within 5 lengths of the leader. Finally, he must not have gained ground, either positions or lengths, in the stretch run. Next is what I call the Z pattern. Dr. Quirin called it 2 runs in the same race. And the requirements are, first, the horse had to be within 3 lengths of the leader or the leader himself at the first call. Second, he has to lose 1 length, at least 1 length and 1 position between the first and the second call. Third, then he has to gain a length or a position from the stretch call to the wire. Fourth, he has to finish in the front half of the field or, not and, or within 5 lengths of the winner. So it's kind of an up close, then back off, and then come on again, move. Finally, there's the big win. This actually came from one of Dr. Quirin's later books. First, the horse must have won his last race by at least 2 lengths. Second, he must have been in the top 3 within 2 lengths of the leader at the second call. And finally, if he was leading at the stretch call, if he was the actual leader in mid-stretch, he must have gained at least 1 length on the field between there and the finish. So what we're looking for is a horse that was, typically this will be a presser, and it's a horse that presses and then draws off in the stretch. This slide shows the result of 4 full years of data, 100,000 races, and 800,000 entries, the majority of which have none of these factors, the top line. As you look at the win percentages and the dollar returns, the only one that really stands out is TX3. Remember, that's the taxing drive at the last 3 calls of the last race. By the way, all of these factors came with a recency component. Quirin originally said you wanted 14 days. That is, the horse needed to be back in 14 days. My experience has been that the recency requirement doesn't matter too much. I certainly would not go beyond 30 days. And if the horse is outside of 14 days, I would demand a workout since raced. So we're going to concentrate on TX3 because that shows the most hope. The rest of the others are either average. A couple of them are actually produce a below average dollar net, even though they all have good impact values. And the reason is, of course, it could be that a lot of people read the book. In this slide, we've broken our 13,000 races out into sprints and routes. And sprints have a small advantage in hit rate and impact value, and routes have a slight advantage in dollar net. But really, they're about equal. We move on and break it out between males and females. Now there we see a significant difference. We find that males apparently hold their form after the taxing drive that lasts 3 calls, whereas females are just about average. Well, females are average in terms of dollar net, and in reality they're actually a little bit above average at 161. But it is clear that males are able to hold their form longer than females. Apparently some of these females come back and simply cannot compete after the taxing drive that lasts 3 calls. But the surprising thing is now, here we break out sprint races by male and female, and what we find is the females simply cannot keep up. Well, their 133 impact value is just fine, but apparently they're much over bet because their dollar net is only 147, whereas the males have improved impact value and dollar net. I mean, they're only 6% from being even at $1.88. Next, we look at route races. What a surprise this is, that the females actually outperform the males in terms of dollar net, and they're equal in terms of impact value. Now, the sample size, 1,416 races for females, is not huge. It's a lot more than Dr. Quirin showed in his book. I believe the sample size there was just a couple of hundred for the entire sample. I think there's a message here, but to tell you the truth, I'm not exactly sure what it is. It appears that females in sprint races, because that's a 3,000 race sample, it appears that they are overbet and not worth it. Whereas in route races, their performance goes up. Notice the hit rate is higher, and the dollar net is within 5% of being even.
I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope it improves your handicapping. If you'd like some more help with your handicapping, come join me at my website, www.thehorsehandicapingauthority.com. Horse Handicapping Authority, that's me, Dave Schwartz. Come there, sign up for free, and you'll find lots of free stuff. We're adding more all the time. Bye now.